Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed and the After Hours update for Thursday, October 16th. It's been a pretty volatile day as far as I understand. It's been a pretty busy day at work, so I haven't really been looking at the charts too much, but did have some orders filled and did have some fun making the thumbnail while at work in between, being busy and whatnot. So, Grok's super fun for that. And, the theme of Power Rangers really comes from Plug Power, so I will be going over that ticker. But first, I wanted to go over the SPX or the S&P 500, as it does look like. Let's see, for today, Thursday, October 16th. The S&P 500 came down by about 0.63%. And yeah, it could be coming down some more. And just saying, hey, what's up in the chat? How's it going, Abdul? And I might not take too many requests today, just because there are a number of tickers I'd like to go over, kind of like spread the love, and I tend to get distracted by too much of the chat. But I will try to take a look over there as time allows. But yeah, anyways, just looking at the SPX, I do have this yellow line highlighted at $6,569, right around there, as we did close below that on, let's see, Friday the 10th. So last week when we had that massive red candle coming down 2.71% on the day. And the reason why I have that yellow line there is because that is the low from September 25th. So, I think that could be an important level to hold. And, so let's try to stay above $6,570, $69, whatever it is. And also do have the 50 SMA just below that at $6,557.56. Of course, that's going to be changing a little bit, going up a little each day as the price is above there. And one thing that I do want to point out about this, which I think is going to be like a fake out bearish signal, but maybe not. Maybe it ends up playing out. Is that potentially it's gonna be a little bit wonky. I might have to adjust it, but maybe there's a left shoulder over here. Maybe there is a head over here, and maybe we're starting to form that right shoulder there. And so if we do come down to around 6,540. Maybe that is the start of this head and shoulders pattern that would be bearish, and that would be suggesting a move down. If we take a straight line down from the top of the head to the neckline, and then just use that as the midpoint, that could be suggesting price could be coming down to around $6,300 or $400. I don't expect that to happen. I think that this pattern is probably going to be like a fake out pattern. Everybody sees, oh, look, there's a head and shoulders pattern. And maybe, let's see if I just draw it up here using the path tool. Maybe we do, over the course of this week, pull down to around 6,550. Everybody sees, hey, look, there's a very clear head and shoulders pattern there. Maybe we start to break a little bit lower. But then, this is arbitrary, but you could kind of see the cursor lining up with like the highs over here as well as over here. So maybe we fake out, dump down to those levels, then spike up, reclaim that yellow line as support, and then go to new all-time highs. So I could see that happening, but I could also see that not happening in this rolling over. So be cautious. Good to have a plan and to trade the plan. And with that being said, the volatility that we're seeing over there in the theme of this video, I thought I'd pull up the VIX. This is going up pretty high. Nice way to hedge. And yeah, so on Friday last week on the 10th, the VIX went up by 31.69%, then started to consolidate here, which looks like, forming a bull flag. And from this, we could do a little bit of a trend-based fib extension. So just going from like the approximate lows over here, maybe just like the moving average, let's say, going up to, let's see, highs over here. I'm just going to do like the consolidation highs, like so that candles close on the 10th, pulling back to the lows over here. And so we've gotten ourselves a nice little 100% extension there. So just taking the distance from here up, pulling back, and then going up again. So what we might see now is a little bit of consolidation and maybe a pullback. Maybe this doesn't keep going. But in all honesty, I'd kind of like the VIX to keep going up, and there's a specific reason for that. I'll show you in just a second. But I should probably note that the VIX closed today at $25.30, very clearly above 20, which is right around where the cursor is. And, we can see that we did bounce from there before going higher. And so today, I should also note, we went up 22.64% on the day. So, yep, a nice way to hedge over here. And so one of the ways that I'm hedging, which I've not really done a good job at doing, is with the UVIX, which is the 2x long VIX futures ETF. This is something that I previously was just stacking for days like today. And, my average is around 24 bucks. We closed today at 1407, so I'm definitely in the red on it. It's not a huge position. I was planning on buying more if it had pulled back to retest 10, but following this big green candle move on the 10th last Friday, went up 25.65%, and then pulled back on Monday this week, so on the 13th, to a low of $10.52. So I didn't get a fill at 10 to just get my average down on that pullback. And then we got a couple tests of the 50-day simple moving average, which is currently at 1179. Got rejected from that before today, breaking out above, going up 19.44%. And, breaking above that 50-day SMA. So I could see that level right around 12 bucks, maybe get retested. Maybe we consolidate down to there, but that could also be, a level like 10 was over here that we nearly get to, but not quite if this is to continue going higher. I mean, it could not continue to go higher. And so if it was to pull back and to find a dip buying opportunity, I'd say right around 1250, and that actually kind of matches the thesis of it pulling back to 10 over here, but it only hit a low of 1052. I'm thinking it could be pulling back to around 12, testing that 50 SMA, but that's, potentially not going to happen. And so I was thinking, just like the close here from last Friday, which was at 1254, so it's kind of, matching up with the thesis of 10 plus about 50, that was the bottom. And so if I'm thinking 12 plus about 50, 1254, maybe we pull back to that, find that as support before it goes higher. But some things that are potentially concerning about this, or maybe not so concerning, we do see higher highs in the ETF price. We do see higher highs in the RSI. So there's confluence there, or there's no divergence. There's the opposite of divergence. They rhyme. They've got some rhythm between the RSI and the price. But what we do see in the volume is volume was up pretty high today, but not as high as it was on Monday. And, to be honest, that's kind of to be expected. Not as high as it was on Friday. Sorry if I said Monday, I meant Friday. Not as high as it was on Friday, but that's not really that surprising. That was a pretty crazy day. And although that would be showing some divergence, higher highs here, lower volume, not like lower volume behind this move. So maybe it's not continued, but I could see it going up higher. And, for me, the hedge is, my average is around, it's a little bit below 24. I got a limit sell at 24 just to get out at break even. And then I got some cash on the side for taking advantage of any dips if we do see more volatility. So that's kind of how I'm playing this. If it does go higher, if it doesn't, I'm just going to hold the bag, and I'll probably sell if it's not gone up to 24 around the end of the year, just for like tax loss harvesting purposes and stuff like that. But yeah, anyways, wanted to go over that. But I also wanted to go over plug power because that was requested. I don't have it up here in the list. So I'm just going to add it to TRL down here. And yeah, just to follow up on this one. And I think it's, kind of interesting because, you have a thesis about something, and if it plays out early, which is like what happened with Tilray, you got to take it and walk with it. And so plug power, I had kind of talked about this pulling back to 3 potentially, and, going up to 4, thinking that this would probably be going higher, but maybe that's already played out. And I don't think that we can see it here in the chart. So it looks like the low on Friday, October 10th, was $3.40. So not $3. But if we do flip over to, let's just do the 4-hour because it doesn't really matter too much to get the details. We just want the after hours price action from Friday, October 10th, and we saw Plug hit a low of exactly $3. I think I posted about this on X. And then from there, we bounced, got a move up to a high in the pre-market on Wednesday, it looks like. A high of $4.29. But, with that taken into consideration, let's just switch back over to the daily. And we can see that from the red day on the 10th, we did go up to high during market hours. Yesterday on the 15th of 425. Today we had a high of also 425. So those levels, that level 425 acting as some resistance. And so let's consider that. Let's try and think about, was that a top, long-term, short-term, or are we going to be pulling back? Let's just think about it. And so what I can see here is we do have lower highs in the stock price, and that corresponds with lower highs in the RSI. So there's no divergence there. So that would be bearish divergence. If we were seeing it, we're not seeing it. So I think that's good. So that could be suggesting that this is going to be a little bit more mellow of a pullback. Although with the attempts that we had here to get back up to like the highs from October 6th, which were 458, getting above 4, we didn't see much volume, especially not relative to over here. So that does suggest some weakness. So really not too surprising to be seeing a pullback. Before I throw up the drawings, because I know there's going to be some clutter there, we do have the 50-day SMA here at 221. So, we could be getting sub $3 after having closed today at 348. So that's just something to consider. Do I think we're going to go back to sub $3? I have no idea, but I don't have a position. I'm just sitting on my hands. I'm going to, respect the chart and see what's going on in the markets and, try to reevaluate. And so some things that we could do, maybe I've already done them, is Fibonacci retracement. And so I've drawn this one from the low of September 30th going up to what corresponds with the high from October 6th. So I'm just going to pull that up just so I can show you those coordinates. So the low was 219. That was the low from September 30th. That looks good. And then the high at 458. I had just talked about that was from October 6th over here. So that all looks good. And I've just got a few fib levels up here just to try to avoid the clutter. And it looks like, closed today below the 382. We had previously tested the, 50% over here at lows on October 9th of 335. And with that being said, with this 332, 332 level going across there, what's that correspond with? That is the high from January 7th of this year of 2025 at 332. So I think that could potentially be acting as some very important support, but I could also see us, I have it doodled here that, pulling back to that level, doodled that I was hoping it'd go a little bit higher. We didn't get that. Got to take with us the reality that we're dealing with. And I could actually see this because it didn't go as high as I was expecting. Let's just shift this down a little bit like that. And so maybe I don't think it's going to go down that low. That would be sub 3. Maybe actually it could go sub 3. That's around 290. But, I'm not going to fudge that just so we have it for perspective. Coming down to the 618 here, that's 310. So maybe we start wicking below that yellow line at 332. If we close above it, I think that could be suggesting it's going to act as support as I have drawn here. But if we start to close below it, I think we're probably going to be going lower, showing some weakness. And so I do have the 618 there drawn up there in yellow at 310, but let's also add the 786. And so that's going to be in red. And that would correspond with a price of around 270. So do consider that. Also, the open over here from September 23rd, That was at a price of 293. That also kind of corresponds with the highs over here before gapping up. So yeah, I mean, I think that plug could be heading to sub 3. So I think that's something good to be paying attention to, keeping in mind. And I do think I have a contract up here on my list. It's actually a put, but this is a position that I hold that I'm probably going to lose money on. But it's just I keep it here to shame myself, to remind myself that I screwed up. And I will be selling that contract for 1 cent. I've got 2 of them, so I get $2 back. That's better than nothing because I think it's going to 0. And yeah, but what we can see here in the net call and put premium, net put premium, more or less flat. So, people aren't necessarily aggressively betting on this going down, with the net put premium being up today on the 16th by about $151,000. What we do see is net call premium coming down by 1.37 million. So that's the green line, also following the yellow line, which is the stock price for the day. And so that suggests to me that it's effectively just people taking profits on their calls, or at least hedging long positions by selling covered calls. They don't necessarily think it's going to continue going up, but that doesn't necessarily mean they think it's going to be going down. And if we do look over at the Greeks, we can see that max pain for this Friday, so that's tomorrow, the 17th, is $2.50. So I would not be surprised if price starts heading towards $3. Maybe it doesn't get to $2.50, maybe it doesn't get sub $3, but I think that price is probably going to be approaching $2.50. And then a little bit of reassurance is the following max pain for the 24th of October is $3. So, I mean, I think 253, maybe dipping a little bit below 3, is feasible. And then again, 250 for the Halloween expiration. So do keep that in mind. I think that plug could be going sub 3. That's why I didn't, place an order to buy. I wanted to kind of evaluate and see what would be happening with it, since it hit 3 during the after hours last Friday when there was a lot of panic. I suspect that this is probably going to be coming down to at least the 618 at 310, but I do suspect lower, but I'm just going to say at least, I think, 310. So my thoughts, I'm sure people aren't necessarily happy about that, but just trying to give my perspective. And a couple other tickers I wanted to go over that are on the thumbnail, and they're all kind of related, just like to Bitcoin. So I'm going to pull them up real quick. So yesterday in the stream, I talked about Mara. This is a Bitcoin miner. I talked about Mara coming into this trend line, which I had actually drawn up in my Webull charts. And also, that kind of corresponding with this inverse head and shoulders pattern, which is bullish. But I thought that price could be pulling back to 20. And so the low for the day was 1990. The close was at 2027. So kind of spot on with, what I'm doodling over here. Didn't expect it to be so dramatic, with Mara coming down by 11.27% today. But what I did, which I mentioned in the stream yesterday, which I'm very proud of, is that, just as far as managing risk, I took profits on this contract, which is the $50 call that expires in January, 92 days between now and expiration, and it's possible. We can see my orders here. Yeah, actually, no. We can't see my orders. I see the ask of 4, but it says bid. Yeah, actually, the ask of 4, that might be me. But the bid was 51 contracts. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but the 4 on the ask side, I had a limit sell that got filled at open at, let's see. And actually, this is on 5 minutes, so maybe I can switch this to 1 minute and we can see my cute little order that was filled right at open. And yeah, that's me. That's me in the data right here. So average fill 122. The high for the day, actually, that you can see, I'm not going to move the cursor because I want to look at this data, but the high for the day, you can see it on the screen, was 123. I got this fill at the ask, average fill 122, so $122 per contract, 4 of them. And I still have 1 contract. My average is 37 cents. And so I'm just going to hold it. I'm just going to see what happens. It's my, moon bag. But I did take profits on this because I wanted to make sure I'm managing my risk so I can be buying the dips, and I thought that this would be pulling back. And so we can see that it closed, or it ended the day with an average fill over here around 91 cents. So while, it might not be coming back to 37 cents, at least not soon, I managed some risk. I got hundreds of dollars on the side as a result of this. And we can see over here the high 123. So I'm proud of that. I feel good about it. I also do have some shares, but not a huge position. But I'm just going to see what happens with the contract that I do hold, just the one. And, if it goes to zero, I've made money on it, so it's not a big deal. But what we can see, just to expand the data over here, if you guys are curious, that Mara did have net put premium in red go up by about $1.52 million as the stock price in yellow came down. The net call premium in green also came down, and we saw a reduction in net call premium by $8.85 million. So that is suggesting that we could be seeing a little bit of a pullback, or maybe we saw that today. We do look over at the Greek, so just looking at the max pain, with the stock price being around $20, max pain for tomorrow is 18. So it's good that our price is above 18, but max pain changes every day. Maybe tomorrow it opens at 19 or at 20, and then we start to close below max pain on the Friday, and then price starts to roll over. Next week, for the 24th, max pain is 20, so maybe there's a little bit of hope there, but the following week for Halloween, max pain is 1850. So I think that this could be cooling off a little bit before we start to rally some more. So good to be keeping that in mind. And so, yeah, with this massive red candle here, not too much of volume behind that. So this is, makes me think there's a little bit of divergence there, that you'd want to see a lot of volume behind this big sell-off to suggest that it would continue. So volume not being super high does make me think that there is some hope we could be seeing a bounce with this. And that also brings up a point. I want to be going over the next ticker related to Mara, related to Bitcoin, and that is the IBIT Bitcoin ETF. I had drawn this trend line, just looking at it for the first time now, we closed below it. So maybe that's a little bit bearish. I think it probably is a little bit bearish, but, something that looks really bearish, like, oh man, we're, testing, the lows over here, that looks bearish. That was a great dip buying opportunity. So I think that we might be at a great dip buying opportunity, and that's going to come in with the put premium, or the call premium, I should say, the net premium for IBIT. And so what we have, this uptrend that we have closed below. So closing today at a price of 61.43, going down in the after hours to 61.15, somewhere around there. We actually hit a low during the day of 61.02. So not looking so great. We do have increased volume on this downsized move. And, compared to the spread of this candle, lots of volume there. This spread is less than that one. Volume is elevated, but less than that. So this does make me think that, this could continue to go lower. So just want to point that out, and that this is actually has put in a lower low than what we saw over here. I'm just going to highlight that for us. So on August 29th, we saw a low of 61.31. And I'm just going to line that up over here, coordinates, 61.31. And so that's pinpointed to that low. We wicked below that low today. We put in a lower low, but we closed above it. So what was our close? Our close was 61.43. And the low over here, as I had mentioned, was 61.31. So I think that this could potentially be like a spring, a fake out, shakeout before we break out. And that's kind of my thesis with it. I'm probably going to, lose some money on it because I do have some calls on this, the $90 strikes that expire in November. So it's like just a little over a month between now and then. I'll pull up those contracts in a second, but I did want to pull up this post that I put on the channel as well as X. I don't think too many people saw it. I'm just going to zoom in here so we can see it a little bit better. So I posted this right before going to work because it stood out to me, and I just posed the question, or posed the thought that somebody keeps stacking the IBIT November 90 strike calls, and I'm just wondering, is it time to buy the Bitcoin dip? I have to say I did buy the Bitcoin dip today at 108,000. I had reached my Bitcoin goal for the year, and so I started to decrease the daily DCAs, and then with the remainder for the week, it's like, well, I'll just place a limit buy at 108. That got filled today. I did not expect that. I placed the order today, so kind of crazy to see that. Or it's possible I placed the order yesterday. But anyways, looking at this, the contracts here for the open interest, I should say, for the $90 strike call that expires November 21st. So this is the one that I do hold. So, I'm biased. I'm looking for data that suggests that this is not looking so bad. And what I had noticed today is that it's continued to go up. Yesterday, there was a volume of over 11,000 contracts, which led to an increase in open interest of just shy of 7,000 contracts. And I do have highlighted here in these yellow boxes that there are days when open interest is going up nearly 1,000, if not tens of thousands, or over 10,000, I should say. Can't say tens because it's only 11,000 there, but a good amount of buy-in, millions of dollars over here, with that open interest increasing. So over here at the base of that screenshot, we see that open interest is around 81,000 or just shy of 81,000. Now open interest is 26.5 thousand. So it's gone up quite a bit since, basically a month ago, less than a month ago. So September 24th. But we can look at this contract, over here, because I do have this one as well. And so we can see that, as I had pointed out, open interest increased by nearly 7,000. We did see a volume today of 12.655 thousand contracts. We'll have to see the data in the morning tomorrow, see if open interest increased. But what we can see looking at the net call and put premium over here is actually, I expected this to seem more bearish, and I'll show you the bear bull slider in a second, which I'm in all honesty, pretty surprised by this. But what we see is, lots of squiggles. Everything's negative on here. We see in yellow the ETF price coming down. By the way, IBIT is the BlackRock iShares Bitcoin Trust ETF. We see the yellow is the ETF price coming down. We see in red that is the net put premium coming down. So that's, kind of bullish. Net put premium coming down means puts are being sold. So that's bullish potentially. We see net put premium came down by $6.63 million today. But if we do look at the net call premium in green, that came down by $9.11 million. And so that seems like it would be more bearish that we have net call premium being green here coming down, more negative than the net put premium. I would think that this is more bearish than bullish. But actually, if we do look at the bear bull slider over here, that 42% happens to be the majority, is on the bullish side because there's that window of, neutral in the middle there. And so, yeah, bearish, let's see, 95.57. I believe that's different contracts, that suggest bullish activity, or that's bearish, sorry, 95.57. On the bearish side, and then 110.7 million more on the bullish side. So anyways, I'm not going to get lost in the weeds with this because I feel like not too many people are tuning into this, maybe because I'm, just rambling about all of this stuff. But this stuff's important to me, so I kind of just wanted to give my perspective. And since I am talking about IBIT, just real quick, going to go over Bitcoin. This came, I'm going to pull this up. This is from Crypto Corner Sat Stacker. This is, high quality information, that I, just very nerdy. But, support that I had talked about for Bitcoin for this week. I believe it was the same for last week as well, but I do update this every week. And, 108 That's green because I had an order filled there. Maybe it keeps going lower though. I've got over here additional level to the downside, 102,000. And that's actually a level that Crypto Wendio was talking about in her stream today, which took place between, I think, 1:30 to 2 p.m. Eastern. I might be mistaken about that. But yeah, Crypto Wendio, I'll actually, after the stream, I'll pull up her channel right now just so you guys can, see it. And yeah, so let's see YouTube. And I'm going to go to some of my subscriptions. This is from, you can get just an update. Amazing new, I'll pull it up so Ed's not blocking it. Amazing new XRP bank partnership, 3-minute short from Wendio. So you can check that out if you like. And then let's see, what else do I have here? There's got to be another one from Crypto Wendio. I know she had a stream. What's going on? I'm missing it. Oh, that's because this is not my subscription. So let's go to my subscriptions over here. Yeah, so I'll include this, copy a link, and I'll put it in the chat if you guys are curious. But she was talking about 120,000 Bitcoin, and I'll include that in the description of the video as well. And so let's see. I won't do it now. I've got it in the chat, so I can do that pretty easily. But what was I talking about? Bitcoin? Is that what I was talking about? I'm all over the place. Bitcoin over here. Oh, 102. Come on, man. From the spreadsheet. Yeah, so an additional level that could be acting as support if 108 doesn't hold is 102. Crypto Wendio is also talking about it. She's way more senior than me as far as, analysis goes, technicals, and just understanding Bitcoin, crypto, and stuff. So if 108 doesn't hold, we got a confluence of analysts here saying 102 could be the next level. So do keep that in mind. Just looking at the chart here, I mean, thus far, 108, it's still holding in my view. And we are testing like the wick lows over here, so far putting in a higher low. So the low from Friday, October 10th was 107 exactly. And so far today for the 16th, we've hit a low of 107,464.53. So about $107,500, somewhere around there. And yeah, so we'll have to keep an eye on that, see how that is playing out. Somebody's talked about, I've heard, head and shoulders on the 4-hour time frame. So let's just look at that real quick with no drawings here. So I could see that a little bit, but I think it's actually a little bit more compelling on the 1-hour time frame. So let's see about that. Maybe a little bit of a left shoulder here, head, right shoulder here, and then we broke below. So this doesn't necessarily look that good, but it could be a fake out breakdown before we go higher. Like I'm saying, with that IBIT net call premium, or not net call premium, but this IBIT contract, the $90 strike call that expires in November, seems like there's a lot of buying. I mean, this could all go to zero and this person could lose money, or these people could lose money. So just because somebody's going long doesn't mean they're going to be making money. But that is the contract that Mike Alfred was talking about. He seems to be pretty cool, calm, cool, collected. So, maybe there's something there. With my renewal of my Ethereum thesis, this is that trend line. We are testing it. We are getting back below it again, right around that 382, around 3,800. Currently above, we've hit a low today so far on the 16th of $3,827.10. If we do look over at my spreadsheet from Crypto Corner Sat Stacker, support level, I don't have an order. I just, buy daily with scheduled daily DCAs, but that level is 3,800. We haven't really hit it yet, but I think that is an important level. But I do also have some additionals over here, some additional levels to the downside, 3,600, 3,500 if we do start to break below. And that's really just going to be kind of corresponding with this 50% retracement here. And also with the wick lows from Friday, October 10th at $3,436.30. So could be heading lower. So do keep that in mind. Just try to keep the cool, try to not panic. And, yeah, I'm also just going to pull up this channel that I draw on Ethereum. We're still in that channel. So, don't sweat it. Just try to keep calm, stick to your plan. That's what I'm trying to do. But yeah, I mean, that's a lot of the stuff that I wanted to go over. I kind of wanted to mention Cypher and AMC and GameStop. Cypher real quick. This is one that I added to on the dip. This is Cypher Mining. So it's Bitcoin mining energy infrastructure. I learned about them from Mike Alfred. And so I bought the dip, I believe, on yesterday at $20. The low yesterday was $19.75, but we have, of course, closed lower than that at $18.72, being lower in the after hours at $18.55. So I'm kind of curious, where is this going to go? My own interest, I'm curious to see where this could be going to. And so let's see, just the high from yesterday was $22. So I'm just going to adjust this Fibonacci retracement to 22. And so we can see that the 382 is around $17.80, maybe $18 would be acting as support somewhere around there. Or if we do break lower, the 50% is at $16.50, or the 618, $15.20, and that would be corresponding with the top over here. So, this could be doing something, like this before maybe something like that. Ooh, yes. And so I think that this is probably going to be going higher. Mike Alfred seems very competent, very smart, done his homework. And any dips, I think, in this stock or backed or what's the other one that he's talked a lot about? That is IREN, ticker symbol IREN. Any dips in those, I think that they're probably going to be great dip buying opportunities because he's a really smart guy. But, he could also be wrong, though. Just to touch on AMC, this is coming lower. We closed below 279. Green line that I have there. I did buy the dip a little bit at 279, but now we closed at 275, but in the after hours bouncing by 2 cents. So we'll have to see, we'll have to just keep an eye on this. Does seem like there's a bit of rejection there. And, Rico from Free Wyckoffs has talked about 280, seeing how that holds. And, we want to see a lot of volume as that holds as support. We've actually seen a lot of volume as we break below it. So let's see if tomorrow for Friday, AMC can reclaim 280. Closing the week above 280, I think that would be a good sign, but we're not seeing it just yet. And then GameStop, really quick, we're closing today sub $23. For me, I'm just chilling. I added at 23, just bought one share, so nothing crazy. But maybe we see this retest the base of the channel here, and that could be around $22. So that's the next level I'd be looking for, but maybe we don't get there. It does seem to be corresponding with like the middle of the channel. They're highlighted by that blue dashed line, which is let's see, right around $23 where we're at currently. So we'll have to see. But yeah. I've gone on huge tangents. Hopefully it's helpful because a lot of these tickers I do cover, a lot of them I hold, and so hopefully it's helpful to the viewers of the channel. And so I'll just pull up some of the chat. So Abdul, hopefully you're still here. If not, I'm sorry, but I will note that I did cover NEO. And so let's see, NEO on the list. Yeah, I will cover NEO right now. And so NEO is one that I do hold just one call. Actually, yeah. And one of the things that I think is really interesting about NEO is it seems to be kind of a counter trade. So if there's a lot of volatility tensions between US and China, if those tensions are suggesting strength for a company like NEO or strength for China, that could be, very beneficial. And it does seem like, we gap closed NEO. This is very interesting. NEO gap opened. Getting my words confused. Gap opened at a price of $629. The 50-day SMA right there is at $642, it looks like. We filled the gap that we formed. So the close from yesterday on the 15th was at $682. We closed at $683, so we filled that gap. So that looks pretty good. Suggests that, buyers are stepping in to buy the dip, push it higher. So I think that looks good. But at the same time, it's like here we have, I don't even know. I'm going to leave the head shoulders, but just to note, I'll just do a trend line. There's a downtrend, lower highs, and we're still maintaining lower highs. Like this was, a pretty impressive response, but it's not like, breaking out from this downtrend. So what we could see is it just to continue to kind of fade lower. And so my thesis with NEO is, at least for myself, I'm going to hold the one call that I have just because I think that it could be paying out later. But at the same time, if it goes to zero, it's just one contract, so I'm not sweating it. I have considered buying at 6, but again, I'm just chilling. I'm just going to see what happens. And let's see what happened in the, overnight and after hours. So I've got the 4-hour candles over here. So what did we hit the low of during the pre-market? So today, the low during the pre-market was 621, and that's still the 50-day SMA, that blue line. I've got it fixed over here. You can see 1 day it is fixed there. So it doesn't matter what candles I'm looking at. We're looking at the 50-day SMA there. Gap down and found that as support and started to go higher. And then if we do flip back over to the daily, open below, closed above. So I think that's a pretty nice response, but it could just be like a dead cat bounce before it tests it. And so I could see this being a bullish pattern, this inverse head and shoulders pattern, but that would require, it to be going, down here a little bit lower. So something to consider there. If we look at the contracts I do have, this is the one that I hold right here. I actually don't know why I have these other contracts, but maybe they will suggest, buying. That's good. And so what we have for this contract, which is the $10 strike call that expires in June, so 245 days between now and expiration, we do have, buying the past couple of days. So open interest going up from about 89.5 thousand to now about 90.5 thousand. How much money is behind that though? Hundreds of thousands of dollars. But really, it's not like, that mind-blowing or anything. It really just looks like tens of thousands over here the past couple days. So like the 14th and 15th today, over 120,000 in premium traded. We'll have to see if that leads to an increase in open interest or a decrease. So I find that to be interesting. But let's also look at the $3.50 call that expires in November. We haven't seen too much going on with this, so I think this is kind of, like a nothing burger. I'm going to switch this back over to the 5-minute just so we see the candles a little bit clearer. But yeah, doesn't really stand out to me as anything too crazy. We did see a volume today of 1, whether that's buy or sell. It's just one contract, so, nothing burger. The $5.50 call that also expires on November 21st, nothing too crazy with this, so I don't think there's anything to be going on too much about, unless it's like, this $10 strike call that expires in in June. And so that seems a little bit more interesting. But again, my average for this, I think, is right around 37 cents. Oddly, that's the same as my Mara call. So I'm actually just going to pull that up on my phone so I can see it's the Mara one. Yeah, 37 cents. This NEO one, 32 cents. So slightly different. And so, yeah, with the premium being a low today of 80 cents, I'm still green, so I'm not sweating it. And if it goes to zero, I've already made money on this. So I'm, again, not sweating it. But if we look at the net call and put premium for NEO, this actually doesn't look too bad. We see the stock price, and we had a pretty green day. Gap down in yellow, and then filling the gap and going higher in yellow there. So that looks good. We do see net put premium in red coming down being negative. So again, that looks good, but it's only negative by 170,000. So not a huge amount of money. And then also net call premium, that was negative by about 150,000. It did go up, but then it came down. And so that makes me think, in all honesty, while this doesn't look so bad because generally net put premium was down and net call premium was up here. So it was up by, $635,000 at one point, but then it ended the day negative. So that tells me that this move was kind of, sold into. So as the price came up here, gap down and then filled the gap, people were selling calls. People were getting out of positions. And so the call that I hold, the $10 strike call in June, while we have seen increase in open interest, today we might see that going down once the data comes out tomorrow morning. So, I feel like, with NEO, my thesis is, coming down to like sub 6. I could be wrong about that. It may not happen. But thus far, this has kind of matched that inverse head and shoulders pattern that I drew a while ago. And so, if it comes down to 6, sub 6, based on this, that seems like it would be a dip buying opportunity before going up to form the right shoulder of this inverse head and shoulders pattern that would then be breaking out to, around $12 or so. And bigger picture, again, looking at this on the log scale, this just looks superb. And so any dips to sub 6, I'd say, are probably going to be rewarded. But being impatient and, whatnot, I think that's just going to lead to opportunity cost as this bleeds lower. So that's my thesis. I could be wrong. If we start to close above the highs here, then, I very clearly be wrong there. But it's not happened yet. So be patient and wait. Oh, and one of the tickers that I didn't go over is Snap. So I'll probably cover that in a second. But I just want to pull up Abdul's follow-up. So I'm glad that you stuck around, got to see that analysis there. Abdul is saying NEO dropped pre-market due to a court case brought to by the GIC. I'm not sure what the GIC is. And so Abdul is saying, really hope it does come down sub 6 as sold a lot today and took profits. Congrats. I think one of the most important things in the market that's super tough for retail is whether it's taking profits by selling entire position or trimming. Like today, I trimmed my Mara calls. I still own one call and I still have shares in case I'm wrong. So I still have some exposure to the upside. I still have my NEO call, so I still have some exposure to the upside, but it's, my thesis is that it's going to pull back, that Mara might pull back or cool off. Then I can add more aggressively when that pullback has, played out. Or in my case with Mara, I'm really like rolling those profits into IBIT to buy the dip so I can make some money on that call if Bitcoin does start to rally to the upside. And if it doesn't, I can actually roll that call to probably January, maybe December, just to buy myself a little bit more time. And so I'll probably do that if, I gets a little bit concerned, but I'd be rolling it to a higher strike because those are going to be cheaper. And so I would not be exposing myself to more risk, but I would be buying myself some more time by rolling them at effectively break even. So that's my plan with that. But yeah, with NEO, good to have a plan to be able to buy if it pulls back. But also good, like if one is incorrect in the thesis, whether it's NEO, whether it's Mara, whatever stock it is, if it's like, okay, it came to this level, I think that it's getting rejected. I think that it's good to not sell all if it's something that you want to be holding. Like I want to be holding Mara and I want to be holding NEO just to see what happens. And so the way that, I'm going to be accountable in seeing what happens is if I hold a little bit and then I can later, buy the dip if it comes back to my level, or if it doesn't, then I have exposure to the upside. Because if one sells everything here and then it goes up to 8, let's say, who knows? Then it's like, then that kind of triggers the FOMO, the chasing, and that can lead to losing money. So yeah, but everybody trades differently. Everybody's psychology is different. But yeah, I think that what we're probably going to see is just kind of a slow grind down. And like based on how I've drawn this, which the timing of my doodles never correct, sometimes the levels do end up matching. But this is right around Christmas. So this looks like where the cursor is on December 24th. So Christmas Eve, maybe NEO, is at a sale. We got a, what's the holiday after, or the like sailing holiday after Christmas? There's like Black Friday. Is that like, Black Friday's after Thanksgiving. What's the sale after Christmas? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, there could be a nice Black Friday, let's say, sale coming up for NEO soon. And Abdul is just following up that GIC is the Singapore Sovereign Fund, huge company. Oh, okay. So that was news about a court case, so legal issues, whatnot. And I think I might actually be able to. Let's see, sponsored. There's some news, yeah. So right here, I'm not too used to looking at the news in TradingView, but it says 5 hours ago, NEO shares plummet as Chinese EV maker faces lawsuit from Singapore's GIC. So yeah, actually you guys can't see it because I'm blocking it. But sorry about that. But right here, yeah, 5 hours ago, NEO shares plummet as Chinese EV maker faces lawsuit from Singapore's GIC, which is exactly what Abdul's talking about. Oh, Boxing Day. Yeah, that's right. But is that a Canadian holiday? Is Boxing Day Canadian or is that US as well? Boxing Day is familiar to me. I've lived in Canada for a couple of years. But yeah, let's just see. This is from Reuters or Reuters. I never know how to pronounce this. But yeah, I'm clicking it. It's not popping up. So I'm not going to worry about it. We're aware that there's a lawsuit there. But it seems to have bounced, but maybe it does fade a little bit. So yeah, maybe there's a Boxing Day sale for those who want to get NEO cheap. And so a couple months, patience is a virtue, and I think that the next couple months will be good to exercise patience to really take advantage of the dip here. So that's what I'm trying to do, but I think that it upsets a lot of people because I get some backlash for this when I talk about it potentially coming down. But yeah, Abdul saying Boxing Day here in the UK as well. So cool, awesome to have you join from the UK. Yeah, so in the US, let's see. Let's just pull up Grok and let's look up. Is Boxing Day a U.S. Sale day, or is that just in Canada/UK? Let's see what Grok has to say. Grok was more. Boxing Day, traditionally December 26th, is primarily a major sale day in countries like Canada and the UK, Australia, and other Commonwealth nations, where retailers offer significant discounts similar to Black Friday in the US, on Friday. Similar to Black Friday, period. In the US, Boxing Day is not widely recognized as a distinct shopping event. However, some American retailers extend post-Christmas sales around December 26th, but these are typically framed as after Christmas sales. Yet, to be honest, I don't know, what is Boxing Day? It's weird. Rather than Boxing Day promotions. And so the term and cultural significance are much stronger in Canada and the UK, where it's a public holiday in many regions, boosting its status as a shopping day. So that's actually funny. It makes sense why I didn't really know what the name of it was. Boxing Day brings back memories. But I think generally, it's kind of like a Black Friday. If a retailer is able to have a sale to bring people in, they're going to do it. I don't get why the U.S. doesn't advertise it as Boxing Day, but, they're just slow to catch on to the cool, Commonwealth nations and their lead there in the sale. So, yeah, maybe NEO is going to have a Commonwealth sale for those who are interested. And so, yeah, I think I'm caught up on the chat. And so I might end the stream in a minute, but I did want to for my own self-interest, because actually when I go over these streams, this analysis helps me out. I don't really spend too much time going over the charts unless I'm on my phone at work, like taking a break, or, if I'm, making a video. So it's nice for me to go over these, and then you guys can kind of just see my perspective on these stocks. So Snap, I have some shares. I think I have a limit buy order it didn't get filled today, so that's actually curious. What is my limit buy order at 760? What was the low for the day? 763, pretty remarkable. My limit buy order was not filled. So I have, just for full disclosure, I have 20 shares at an average price of $8.25. I wanted to buy 10 more at $7.60. That did not get filled today. Maybe it gets filled in the overnight. I don't plan on canceling that order or anything. But the big thing is I have some calls, and I'll pull those up in a minute, and then I'll talk about the calls as I go over them. But really, I mean, looking at this kind of looks like a bull flag. This kind of looks like a cup and handle. And with that, we see this massive volume behind this upside move. As it's been consolidating here, volumes diminish. So that kind of suggests like digestion of the move. And then it could be, breaking out to continue higher. So like this would be a bull flag or falling wedge. You can think of it in different ways. Or like this is, a cup here. This is the handle. And then it could be breaking out. So that's kind of the thesis that I have, really inspired by some posting from, I believe, Bronx Viking on X, as well as Free Wyckoffs. And so my little doodle over here is, I guess, emphasizing this downtrend that's been acting as resistance. As I should note, Snap closed at a price of $776. So I think $760 might be getting filled. We also have the 50-day SMA, just to clear up, no drawings just yet. The 50-day SMA is at $765, so I'm thinking that we get another little break below there, but maybe it's just a wick below and a close above. And we actually got that today, a little baby wick below there, just like the tip of that wick going below the 50-day SMA, which again is at $765, and the low for the day was $763. So pierced it by 3 cents. And so kind of something like this where there was a nice bounce. But, that was like a fake out break below, multiple closes below, fakes people out thinking it's bearish, and then it breaks back above. And then now it's like testing that. But now I think it's like, nope, this is where it's going to be showing support, boring people, panicking people, with what's going on in the broader market. And then this breaks out. So that's kind of a thesis there. And let's see, got the the Fibonacci retracement here with the 786, the red line. I'm just going to extend this into the future a little bit. So let's see, let's just make this 305. So we got that into the future so we could read the numbers a little better. The 786 is at 760. So, it's like over here, we closed below the 50-day SMA multiple days. People think it's breaking down. They get faked out, goes up. Here we close below the 786. People think, hey, it's closing below the 786, just like it closed below over here. It's bearish, it's breaking down, but then they get faked out and it goes up. Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. What's this trend line here? I don't see that as being too useful, so I'm going to delete that. And this, we're getting rejected over there, so I think that's fine. But really, this just looks like a nice cup and handle there. And so let's look at some of the options data, and I'll talk about the contracts that I hold. And so one of them, this is the risky one. It's just above Ed's head. But yeah, I'll talk about it so you guys don't necessarily need to see. But this is the Snapchat $8 strike call that expires in November, so 36 days from now for the monthly contracts. Current price is around $776 at close, post-market or after hours, $773. And so this is an out-of-the-money call, $8 strike. In this one, I own 5 of them apparently with an average fill at $1. The high today, dang it, just below my average, 98 cents. And so I have a limit sell order at 110 just to get a 10% profit for the contract. So I'd remove the risk at a 10% profit of 4 out of 5 of the contracts. And then I plan to sell the 5th one at a price of 180. So I'd make some money on that, about 80% profit. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I didn't buy any today. The low was 80 cents the last time that I did buy. Let's see, for this contract, if you're curious, I was at 89 cents. So I could have gotten, some cheaper, got my average down at 80 cents. But, I don't want to be chasing falling knives. I don't want to be panicking, whatnot, because the data over here actually doesn't look so good. I'll go over that in a second. But in the other contract, I hold one of these, I believe. No, actually, I think I got 2. My average for this one is 70 cents. And I should note this is the $10 strike call that expires in January. The monthly contract's 92 days from now. And so my average, 70 cents, 2 contracts. The low for the day was 51 cents. The high for the day was 65 cents. This is longer dated than the other one, but it is further out of the money. So I'm not sweating it. I'm just going to see what happens. And yeah, I don't have huge positions in these, so I'm not really too concerned. But let's just expand the chart over here. So we can see, stock price came down in yellow. We can see that. Net put premium in red, more or less flat. That came down by $94.44 thousand, $94,000. Not really that much, not hundreds of thousands, not even 100,000. So kind of flat, but that would be more on the bullish side because it's net put premium coming down. But in green, we see net call premium, and that came down by $1.12 million. We see it kind of flat here, but then we start to see a pretty massive sell-off here, and then it's flat. So that suggests this is bearish. But if we do consider this relative to prior days, let's just go back 3 days. Yeah, this does look more bearish than it's been the past few days because this is the most extreme to the downside over here. We also saw net put premium going up yesterday on the 15th. That net put premium increased by $1.14 million. So anybody buying puts yesterday, they probably made some money today. So that good for them. We want to be cheering for people who's making money. And yeah, that went up by 1.14 million. So it's not like huge amounts of money. And so with that being said, let's consider the past 7 trading days. And, it's not looking too terrible relative to over here. Let's actually go back the past 14 days, 14 trading days. And we can see that, yeah, the down day for today, net call premium coming down by $1.12 million. It doesn't really seem that crazy compared to what we've seen in the past because we've seen a lot of net call premium increases over here, going up as high as $3.5 million. So generally, I think that this is a dip buying opportunity, what we're seeing with Snap. I do think that this is going to break out based on what I've gone over with the chart, with this being a potential cup and handle formation, with this being a little bit of a bull flag on the way to the upside, and I can actually, approximate the measured move or measure the measured move, the distance from the bottom to the top here, taken from the low over here to the upside. That would suggest a price of around $10.11 or just $10 rounding there, kind of corresponding with the top over here around 10.41. So yeah, I'm expecting Snap to be breaking out to around $10 in, maybe the next couple weeks, but maybe I'm wrong. Can always be wrong. But yeah, very interesting. But look at that comparison. Like this volume that we've seen over here, very impressive. And that was, you could argue maybe it's, getting exhausted. There's a lot of effort there and we're not seeing the move that we want to see, the real breakout. But we did see the breakout. Here we gapped from above the 50-day SMA to below the 50 SMA. Volume not too high down there, but then we start to see volume pick up over here, and then we break out above that 50 SMA, fake out, break below it, push above, volume starts to die down as we're testing that SMA again, and then we could start to see the move to around $10 in the coming weeks. So I'm feeling okay about it. I kind of wish I would have bought the $10 strike call in January, but I need to have capital to deploy on IBIT to potentially roll that or just to get my average down. But yeah, Snap, pretty cool. So hopefully that's helpful. And so Bruce, I have been streaming for over an hour now, so I'm not going to be able to get to too much more of the chatting, but have a SPAC stock, really don't know how much about them other than volatility, HOND. And so you did mention that one yesterday. I will pull it up real quick. If this has anything to do with Chamath Palihapitiya, I think he's a very smart guy, but his specs are all cursed. This, very risky, down 14% today. Whenever you see, let's see, big moves like this, and then it starts to get risky. This was also a big move going to a higher high relative to the high over here. And that's a higher high increasing, higher high there, but you have a lower high in the RSI. So the high over here in the RSI on September 14th was 95.08. Over here, it was 88.27, very overbought, but it's putting in a lower high, so that's bearish divergence. You also have, so maybe this is, I don't know, but this is like selling off into there, but this is a higher high in the volume, so I think that's, potentially encouraging, but I think that it needs to have a pullback, it needs to cool off some. And so what I would say, there's the 50-day SMA there at 1420. I should note this closed at 2326 after hitting a high yesterday of 3150. So, that was a good time, the past couple days really over here. In my view, a good time to take profit. I could say that's coming down to the 50 SMA. Potentially, it does. That's around 14. But as time moves on, that's going to move higher because price is above there. So maybe 15, somewhere around there. Or maybe it does something like this. It continues up a little bit here as time goes on. And then what we see is kind of some confluence between the levels over here, this consolidation, and that level. So that'd be around $18. So I could see this pulling back to around 18 from where it's at now. That's a 23% drop to the downside. Maybe it finds some support there. I suspect it will because of this consolidation over here. Might dip a little bit lower, might not get exactly there, but where I've drawn the line is at 1784. So I'd say I feel like 18 is a reasonable ballpark to, expect price to come down to that, to cool off, RSI to come back below 70. Although today it's at 68.14, but I think that it really needs to, and it's lost the momentum in my view. It needs to pull back to around 18. So I just have a plan for that. It may not, I may be completely wrong and it goes to 40 tomorrow. I have no idea. But yeah, just something to consider there. And so that was for Bruce. Chris just requesting, let's see, I may have been wrong about Beyond, up 16% after hours here in short squeeze talk. I may be wrong, but it's all about risk management, and one day is nothing as far as investments go. And so I might be wrong about it on the short term, but, Beyond? Let's see. Yeah, this looks like maybe wrong about Beyond, up 16% after hours. Okay, after hours, so let's see. But yeah, if you would have bought yesterday after close when it was at 67 cents, it hit a low today of 50 cents effectively. It says 50.01 cents. So that would have been a pretty painful drop. Let's just get a measurement from there, from yesterday's close to, that's down about over 20%. And then now it looks like in the after hours, it's around 60 cents. So what I'm going to do, just to remove some clutter, I'm going to remove the drawings for a minute, and then we can switch over to the 15-minute time frame. I can't do 10 minutes, but yeah, we can look at this and see, yep, so does look like it's squeezing up pretty good. So with this candle, it went up 17.4%. But then the most recent candle, which is, these are 15 minutes, so this candle is going to close in about 5 minutes. But that looks like it's getting rejected. Big wick to the upside, and it seems like it's going to be putting in a lower close than over here. That could be, it's just like digesting the move. This is like a bull flag, and it's going to continue higher. But with that massive wick there, hitting a high of 65 cents, yeah, yesterday's close was, above that. So I would say this is, I think it's, you manage the risk how you want. I don't think it's worth the risk. Beyond is not a company that like Tesla is a company I really believe in. That's something I feel like I have to be invested in. I love it. Beyond Meat, it doesn't have to succeed. It can be a failure. And so with that, I could be wrong, but if you want to chase something that is, and if they had let's see, 20, I think that, you got to manage risk. the way you want to manage risk, but I don't think this looks good. Because yeah, I mean, after hours it's going up, but it's not even back to where it closed yesterday. So seems very risky. After hours, overnight, low volume, retail gets excited, retail chases, and then when the market opens, short sellers make some money on it. 65 cents. I mean, you do you. I think it's risky. And Lazy One saying AMC flow coming in with dark pool activity and the Netflix partnership could be nothing. I didn't know about the Netflix partnership, so I'll pull up AMC real quick, but then I'm ending the stream, not taking any more requests, but let's just see. This is meme stock ETF. But yeah, this did close below the 50 SMA. I did talk about it earlier in the stream, but let's just see. I'm going to pull up Webull, pull up AMC because I got some news here. Netflix and Spotify partnership is a win-win for both companies. And so, yeah, it doesn't seem like AMC's partnered with them. But yeah, it also, I mean, that kind of makes me think that like the thesis on streaming being all these things, I mean, it's a partnership. It's not a merger. I don't know. Let's see. CEO says, this is from TipRank, so I won't be able to read it. Benzinga, I can read that. AMC Entertainment CEO Adam Aron posts on X, "This is real news, announced yesterday. AMC and Netflix." So this is what you're talking about, so that seems pretty good. Netflix, the world's largest streaming service, and AMC Entertainment, the world's largest theater chain, have jointly decided to work together. So yeah, I mean, I think that this could be very good news. And then it kind of, what's the bear thesis? Streaming's going to destroy AMC. This kind of destroys the bear thesis. So I think that that's a really good piece of news right there. And one thing, I believe I shared it on the channel. I'm just going to pull it up. I opened a silver and a gold yesterday. I'd encourage you to check out that video. I made some money yesterday, a good amount. I had a 6x trade, so very cool. But yeah, I did post this on the channel. This is analysis from Free Wyckoffs, aka Rico. He's on X as Free Wyckoffs, and he does have a YouTube channel. I posted this, I shared it. He goes over Wyckoff analysis, volume price analysis, talking about how AMC could be breaking out. What I think we could be seeing, especially with the news that you're talking about, I think that this could be, I don't want to say a fake out breakdown because maybe it just continues to go down tomorrow. But I mean, we're still above this yellow uptrend, and this is just one close below the 279 level that I have marked there in green. We had some closes over here. That was a dip buying opportunity before price went up about 15%. So with AMC here, until proven otherwise, which might be tomorrow's close, I think that this could be a dip buying opportunity. I think that things could be really set up for AMC to actually start moving, but it also could just bleed and fade. So I think it's good to not be super aggressive with this. I'm not. I did add to my position though. I bought 10 shares at 279. I'm not buying more. I want to make sure I have that capital for shorter dated contracts and stuff like that rather than shares. But yeah, maybe I'll add some more next week. But yeah, thank you for that news. Very cool to see that with AMC. But with all that being said, since this has been more than an hour and 12 minutes, hopefully it's helpful for you guys. But, as always, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more streams like this. I will be doing another after hours update tomorrow, Friday, after the weekly close. But I'm probably not going to do another video tonight. Hopefully I included all the tickers that are helpful for you guys. And I will make sure I add let's see, beyond to the list of tickers there. And I will also include a link to Crypto Wendy O's stream from today, as well as the AMC video in the description of this one, so you guys can easily access those. But yeah, thank you so much for hanging out, listening to me ramble for over an hour. Hopefully valuable for you guys, valuable perspective. And yeah, we'll see what tomorrow brings. I feel like we're seeing, maybe it lasts a week, but I think that we're seeing dip buying opportunities, but maybe not. Anyways, Enjoy the rest of your days. I'll see you in the next one. I'm probably going to be putting out some shorts on GameStop from the Power Packs polls that I had from last night, because I think those might be, fun to see. But anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow.